we welcome you this afternoon to, or rather from, a rather chilly Othona Chapel, because there's only just 2 or 3 of us here and no visitors and so on. We've decided that it's really, we can't defend the idea of heating it all the time with the underfloor heating, just for the small amounts of time we spend in here every day. So the temperature's gone down to, what was it?
11 degrees.
11 degrees.
Oh.
So that's why we're sitting here a little bit...
we're well covered.
We are well covered.
Got your big coat on.
Yeah.
Afraid so. So there'll be a little bit more from us towards the end of this afternoon, and we're going to be having some music, especially contributed by a former corps member, Chris Reynolds. Chris is with us as well. He's there on one of the screens. But until then, for most of our time, really delighted to welcome you, Nickie and Nigel, who we think of very much as people for Advent weekend, because I'm not sure how many times, but a number of times now, you've been with us over this particular weekend and done fantastic things in the chapel here with labyrinths and candles in spirals and so on. So it seems wholly right to be with you, even at this remove on Advent Sunday. So from Liz and myself here, we'll hand over. We trust everybody can see and hear what's going on from Nickie and Nigel. If you do have any problem you need to tell us about, you do have the chat screen you can use. And there have been 3 little contributions on that so far. And we'll keep an eye on the chat screen if there are more comments added there. Okay. Nickie, Nigel.
Thank you so very much. It's really lovely to see all your faces, and we wish we could be with you in person, but by the wonders of modern technology, here we all are. Something like 80 dispersed community members of Othona. How wonderful is that? And it seems a bit funny for me to be welcoming you all, but because we're guests as well, but it does feel appropriate perhaps for us all to welcome each other. We've got our Circle of Friends candle holder burning in front of us, and that helps us feel connected, as well as seeing you all through the screen. We were with you, as Tony said, last year. I think, Tony, if I remember rightly, I left you with a tree planted in a pot, which I saw on a photograph. You turned into a Christmas tree, so that was rather nice. Yes, the chapel does lend itself to beautiful acts of worship and reflection and meditation. And I can see you're in front of the beautiful triptych at the moment. It's a very, very special place for me and Nickie as well. And we're very happy to be here for this particular time of year for Advent. And we're in that strange transitional time, that liminal time of Advent, the waiting time. And it's encouraging that we have this opportunity to be with you for this particular time, given the circumstances in which we do all meet. So I hope that this next hour or so will be meaningful for you. And we did put out the invitation for you to bring a candle, for people at home to have a candle ready and at hand for you to light as part of our meditation tonight. And for those again at home, if you want to dim the lights so that candle flame is really the brightest thing in the room, that would be wonderful as well. So we want you to relax and enjoy and enter into the meditations for the start of this very special season, this very special time of year. I'm going to give my apologies for me and Nickie now that we won't be able to join you in any chat rooms, any breakout rooms afterwards. We've got another one of these to do. So there we go. No, I'm trying to save my breath a bit as well. So let's just have a moment's quiet. So we're going to settle our bodies. We're going to still our bodies and still our thoughts and slow our breathing And just have that moment to relax, relax. At the close of day, as busyness fades, as light dims and footsteps soften, we open again the inner door of our being to enter stillness, to feel our way through the dark to you, the silence from whom we are born, the name before names were spoken, the love of life's beginnings. At the close of day, we come.
So here we are in the season of Advent, which starts on the fourth Sunday before Christmas and ends on Christmas Eve. In the Northern Hemisphere, it coincides with the darkest days of the year, when the days are at their shortest and the nights are correspondingly long. It's a time when we look forward to the return of the light at the winter solstice, that wonderful day when the balance between light and dark shifts and light begins to get the upper hand again as the days start to get longer and darkness retreats. In the Christian calendar, it's also, of course, the time when we prepare to welcome the light of the world, to celebrate his birth, his presence among us at Christmas. So this evening we want to share some thoughts on the Advent themes of darkness and light.
The darkness is at one and the same time a comforting and a frightening place. It is the place where we dream, where our hearts and minds wander toward the divine, where we imagine what our life and the lives of those around us might one day become. It is also the place where our fears come to life, where we dread the future, worry over our decisions, and where our vulnerabilities feel most profound. Advent reminds us that into the dark and forgotten places of our world, into the parts of our lives we fear or worry about, and into the darkness of our hearts, into the places we can hardly bear to recognize, the light comes.
Different seasons of the year have their own rhythm. In these dark, cold days, we spend more time indoors, perhaps sitting by the fireside. It's a season when the balance of action and contemplation shifts more towards contemplation. The invitation of Advent is to embrace a time of stillness and reflection, and to allow wisdom to grow in us.
Brightener of the night, open to us the treasures of darkness, its deepest wisdom and its healing power. Open our eyes to what we need to see. Open our ears to what we need to hear. Open our minds to what we need to know. Open our hearts to what we need to bear. Open our hands to what we need to give. open our lives to justice and love.
The season of Advent invites us not to run away from the darkness, but to take a long, hard look at ourselves and our world. Working with our vulnerabilities can be painful and challenging, and the temptation is to want to dispense with Advent and jump straight to Christmas. This year, more than ever, we might feel we want to escape the darkness of coronavirus and the even more deadly climate crisis by putting up our Christmas trees early and covering our homes with tinsel and twinkly lights. Several of our friends have already posted photos of their Christmas trees on Facebook. The commercial world would like us to forget about Advent and just have one long season of Christmas, starting about the 3rd week of November. Instant gratification, buy now, pay later, is the agenda of the commercial world. But Advent has a different agenda. It's all about waiting.
Advent, once a year, the chance to wait with a purpose, makes a change.
Waiting with a purpose, an intention, changes us. It's during the stillness of waiting that the deep spiritual work of transformation can happen.
Rejoice in the Lord always. God is at hand. Joy and gladness for all who seek the Lord.
Nature can teach us a lot about the importance of darkness, stillness, and times of waiting. We all know that bulbs need the dark and a period of dormancy. I don't know whether you can see my bulb there. There's something wonderful going on in the darkness, a process that prepares the bulb to bring forth its beauty in the spring. And without that process, the bulb won't have the strength, the resources it needs to grow and to flower.
Let me rest deep within, for I am a seed, a radiant seed. I have no need of the light of day. No, let me lie beneath a comfortable sky. Let my stars be the roots above. Before I come to birth, let me lie in the earth amid the beautiful darkness. When the freeze awakens me, I stretch out a root. Before you see a leaf of me, I dig down deep. And no one can know what I will show. There is plenty of time. Time moves slowly in the darkness. You don't know in the darkness how near the dawn may be.
We know, of course, that each germinating seed and bulb is programmed to grow towards the light. And so it is with us. Our task in Advent is to use this time to orient ourselves towards the light, to clear away any debris that's blocking the light, to be reconnected to the light of God that is both within us and all around.
Redemption is the journey of being reconnected to the light of God within. It is a journey home that takes us through what seems like unknown land. Redemption is not the bringing of light to a creation that is essentially dark, but rather the liberating of light from the heart of life.
At this point, we'd like to ask each of you to light a candle. We'll take a moment to do that while Nigel reads some verses of scripture.
If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for the darkness is as light to you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it.
As you look at your candle, focus on your breathing Breathe in God's light. Let it dance inside you. Breathe out and let go of your weariness, of your anxieties, doubts, and fears. Look at your candle. Breathe in God's light. Let it dance inside you. What are you waiting for this Advent? Look at your candle. Breathe in God's light. Let it dance inside you. What do you want to bring to birth? Look at your candle. Breathe in God's light. How can you be a light bearer for others?
Carrying a candle from one place of shelter to another is an act of love. To move through the huge and hungry darkness, step by step, against the invisible wind that blows forever around the world, carrying a candle is an act of foolhardy hope. Surely it will be blown out. The wind is contemptuous. The darkness cannot comprehend it. How much light can this tiny flame shed on all the great issues of the day? It is as helpless as a newborn child. Look how the human hand that cradles it has become translucent, fragile, and beautiful, foolish and loving. Step by step, the wind is stronger than this hand, and the darkness infinite around this tiny here and now flame that wavers but keeps burning, carried with such care through an uncaring world, from one place to another, an act of love. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never put it out. In the coming hours of darkness, may there be light in our dreams.
In the stillness of sleep, may there be strength for our souls.
In the wakeful watches of night, may there be peace in our minds, light for new vision, strength to make sacrifice, peace for our world.
On the pathways of earth's journey this night, let there be peace.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Nickie, Nigel.
You're welcome.
And Liz for getting the
thank you,
music
Liz.
in from here.
That's brilliant. We're grateful.
Before, I know you have to leave us shortly, don't you?
We do.
Because of what you have to do in the church there. Just give people a little bit of insight where you are and what it is you're doing each Sunday evening there.
We're in Cleve in North Somerset, about 10 miles from Bristol. We're a little bit surprised to find ourselves in Tier 3 here. So essentially, we're not really coming out very much of lockdown, I think. Nigel is vicar here, and we have been having some services in church, but during the times when we can't meet, we have a 6 o'clock Zoom for our team of 5 churches here. And so at 6 o'clock, we're leading a little evening Advent worship for our team here. So that's why we can't sadly stop and chat with everybody, which we would have loved to have done, but we need to go and get ready for another little Advent reflection.
And once a month we invite a guest to come into the Zoom service. They can, like we have tonight with yourselves. So we've had Brother Clark and Jonathan Herbert from the Friary, from Hillfield Friary. We've had our bishop. We've got lovely Alistair Redfern coming, who heads up something called the Liz is nodding. Something called the Cluer Initiative, which is the Anglican, the Church of England response to trafficking and modern slavery, and that's going to be a really interesting evening, looking at the refugees, asylum seekers, and how that is impacting us all, and the plight of some of these folks. So these monthly services can be very, very different, and you never know, Tony, an invitation might be winging its way to you next year.
Oh my.
Or Liz, or both. Both
of us, well.
A double act from the chapel,
Yeah.
we love it.
But thank you for inviting us. It's very, very special to be with you, particularly this weekend. And thank you for your prayers. Just to let people know, I've had one or two health issues, but feeling so much better. And having been on an inhaler, a steroid inhaler for 3 months, I'm now off that inhaler, and I'm getting fit, much fitter than I have been earlier in the year. So thank you for your thoughts, kindnesses, love, and prayers. Thank you. We've got a dash.
Well, bye-bye. Everybody else don't go, because we aren't finished yet. But thank you so much, and we hope to see you in person.
Yeah.
Lovely to have a little bit of time in Dorset.
Yes, absolutely.
Very homesick for Dorset.
Bye.
The little messages coming up at the bottom of the screen are great, because they do actually give us an idea who's out there. I haven't been able to spot everybody's faces on when we go to gallery view, but I see Claire McDermott's with us, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish Claire and Noel every good wish for your wedding.
Yes.
On Friday.
Yes, this Friday. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. That's lovely.
None of us can be there in person, but some of us will be with you in spirit on Friday.
Thank you.
Yeah, you and Noel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we finish with some music, and Chris Reynolds, are you still with us, Chris? I hope you are somewhere. I can't see your face at the moment, but I'm sure you're there.
I think he said yes.
Yeah, oh great, okay. Yeah. Before we do that, it's lovely to have so many people with us for Advent and this time of year, when sort of festivals of light in so many traditions. Feel for the many people who couldn't celebrate Diwali, of course, with the people they had wanted to, and some of us will be able to celebrate Christmas. It was great. I don't know, did you sing along, folks? I found I was singing along with Teze. Yes, I see some of you did sing along. And I was very excited to find out that outdoor carol singing is okay, as long as you're 2 meters apart. And I'm not sure whether you're meant to be 6 people maximum. I've got to check that out. But I'm going to find ways of, yes, Gillian's telling me 6 people. That's right. I'm going to find ways of singing carols outside this December for sure, because I know that the times I normally cherish singing them indoors, particularly in the barn at the organic farm down at West Basington on Christmas Eve. I don't think that won't be happening this year. We normally sit round on the bales of hay there and sing together in the barn at 5 o'clock every Christmas Eve. And while I'm talking about Christmas, I need to tell you all, and this will be, I'll be telling a much wider group by newsletter in a couple of days' time, I think. But sadly, a couple of days ago now, we had to take the decision that the events in December, that's next weekend, and Christmas and New Year, at all of which we had some people booked to come and stay with us here and that we were really looking forward to. We don't think it's really possible to do those responsibly under current arrangements. We're only in tier 2, not tier 3, but we took a deep breath and decided that on balance, we would have to, with great regret, cancel those events. So we've already contacted the people who were booked on that, of course, but I'll be letting people further afield know about that in the next day or two's time. We trust that we'll be able to open before too long. We're certainly closed till January. We've not decided when we might be able to reopen to visitors again, but we certainly hope to before too long. Anyway, and in the meantime, of course, some of you may be joining up with people just during those 5 days at Christmas that it seems to be no holds barred. But I know many of us will still be taking great care at that time, thinking quite carefully about who we do meet up with. So that's our big bit of news. It's changed what we expect to be doing over the next 4 weeks here. And I think Steve has just said, doesn't our singing sound terrible when we can only hear ourselves? Couldn't possibly comment, Steve, because I couldn't hear you. Chris Reynolds is with us. Chris lived here and was a core member back in the late 90s, and still lives not far from here over in Broadoak. Chris, give us a little update on you.
I went back to college when I left and decided it was to do the thing that I'd always wanted to do, which is study music. And I went to Weymouth, and I was lucky enough that they had a very, very good music department there and a very good composition teacher. And what I've ended up doing is setting up a choir and writing choral music for them, which is the joy of my life, and doing a bit of pottery here and then round the corner as well. So that's where I am now.
Great. And Chris, we're going to hear one song which is part of a longer work that I think you've just completed. Tell us about the long. It's the one we're going to hear, by the way, is Can It Be?
Okay. This piece is it's called The Word, and it's a Christmas cantata. It runs about 25 minutes, and it takes the phrase "in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God," and it just looks through from Genesis to St. John, and it takes the story and it sets it to music. And there's 5 carols in it, if you will, and some linking pieces as well, which is kind of how cantatas work. Can It Be, inspired by John Betjeman, that lovely poem of his. I haven't used his words, but I really liked the idea, so I've taken it in a different direction.
Okay, Chris, and this, I will say to everybody that I'm going to be providing a link to your website that will allow people to, I think, hear the whole work if they wanted to.
Yes, of course. Yes, that'd be lovely.
That link will go out with the next newsletter.
Okay.
It's not posted this evening, but it'll be going out in a couple of days' time. And how has this been recorded?
Well,
in lockdown.
It's a demo recording, and I finished the thing halfway through lockdown. I sent it to a chap in America. There's a chap called Matthew Curtis, who runs a company called Choral Tracks. And what he used to do was to multi-track everything himself. So he would sing 6 or 8 parts. He's got quite an extraordinary voice. On this one, his friend Alexandra is singing the female parts and he's singing the male parts. And then I've written a backing track which runs behind it, which sort of holds the thing together. So it's a demo version. It's not a full live recording, but you get a fairly good idea of it.
Thanks very much. So
Okay.
this track is entitled Can It Be? That's nothing to do with And Can It Be, the old nonconformist hymn. Very, very, very different kettle of fish. And I'm now going to ask Liz to play that for us. And after that, we'll come back together and there'll be a chance for anybody who wants to stay and chat, and we'll unmute other people. But let's now hear part of Chris's cantata, The Word.